Hey, I'm Pratyay and today I'm here to talk about the application that I built called Kindle Clippings. Now this application was started during 2024 when I was still in college, and I got the idea basically from this other application called Readwise. What Readwise lets you do is upload your highlights from your Kindle or your Amazon account, and then it lets you access them on the go on your phone via browser and sends you an email every single day where it sends you random highlights plus advertisements in them. Now I was very fascinated by this idea because I was very much into active recall, how your memory works and the forgetting curve then, and still am now. So I thought it would be better if I had on the go access to my Kindle highlights, plus if I could get random pointers to the highlights or to the things I had read a year or two back. And I wanted to buy or get into this, start using this, but I came across this where it was $13 per month, and this was not something I could afford as a student, I assume. So I did the next thing that seemed right, which was build what is my minimal requirement and my MVP product. This product was built in 4 major versions. The first basic version was the Kindle Clippings highlights extractor, where you would upload your .txt clippings file and you'll get a zip file consisting of the PDFs. Not very good on the go access, and you can't access it from the mobile, but this was the MVP product that would lay the foundations for this entire project. Then came the dashboard. Dashboard was the idea so that on the go you could access any book, you could search into it, you could jump into any book. So for example, let's say I want to go into the little book of Stoicism. I could just go into it and then search for any highlight right there. So it was very good for me to access information on the go now. And why was this important for me? Because I have this thing called my second brain, where I write about my thoughts, what I read, what I'm learning now, and majority of this consists of book summaries. So when I finish any book, I try to write a summary of it so that instead of going to the entire book next time, I could just refer to the key points from the book, which is extremely useful for recalling, right? So that's where this idea came from. But the major roadblock here was that after writing the Kindle, I would have to either search in the gigantic 4000 KB of blob text for my highlights, or I would have to type the text. So instead, what this application allows me is search for any quote, copy it and paste it in my Obsidian, which would sync it, convert it to HTML and push it over here. So this would make the process very much streamlined. So that was the version 2 dashboard. Then came the newsletter. This was the main goal. Post this, the product was stable. What the newsletter does is it fetches 10 random highlights from all of your highlights and sends it to you. Now this might not sound like a big deal to you, but think of it. Everything you have ever read is inside your brain. The only problem that occurs is you are not able to access it. In coding terms, you can say that you have the data stored in your memory, but you have lost the pointers or the references to that memory chunk. It happens with us a lot of times that we are not able to think of something. It is right on the tip of our tongue. And if someone gives you the main keyword, you will remember the entire information. This mail solves that. Here I get access to a quote I highlighted on November 2025, and at the same time something I read on October 2022. And reading this line would remind me the entire pretext of this chapter. You would get 10 highlights every day or 10 references to something that you had read, and these would be completely random. After this, the application was almost complete. There was nothing to do, just UI changes and everything. But then I jailbroke my Kindle, and that changed a lot of things. Now there was an opportunity to write shell script that would run on my Kindle itself, which opened new horizons. So this is Kindle Integration, where you get your own user ID, your secret key, and now you can sync from your Kindle. This was a major change for me. Simply because now I did not have to wait to get to my home and plug in my USB cable to my laptop to push the highlights that I had read. I could be on a metro train, I could connect to my phone's hotspot, and I could sync directly to my account. No ID password needed, no logging needed. Plus, if you ever end up revealing this or making this public, you can just click on revoke secret and create a new one. So this is pretty much secure. Now this is pretty much the Kindle Clippings tool I built. If you want to know about all the changes that I went through, all DB migrations and everything, I have kept a what's new header here. which would have all the updates about all the version change and what they brought in. I've got here the what's new page, which would have all the updates about what was added, what was missing in the previous versions, what was fixed, what is unfixed. So you can always catch up with this and get to know what are open issues that you can fix or contribute to. Now that is pretty much it for Kindle Clippings. I don't know much what is going to be there in the future, but this project is going to be alive. Currently you can access it for free. If you want, just mail me or text me or connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll give you these coins. These coins are just there as a rate limiter so that someone doesn't DDoS me, and a good way to know how much people are using, right? Since I do not want to invade your own privacy, this coins feature gives me stats on how many users are actually using the application. You can always self-host this. The code is completely public. If you want, you can go to my GitHub page, my GitHub profile in the repositories tab. So these are the 3 repositories that we have here: Kindle Heads, backend, frontend, and extensions. These are pretty much plug and play. You just have to add the .env variable, do npmi. My application would always be free, just Kindle Clippings at least. The pitch here is, if you are someone who is using a Kindle or who wants to jailbreak a Kindle or know someone who are using a Kindle, please do share this with him. I would love for this application to be used. If you have data concerns, I understand. I am also quite a freak when it comes to data privacy. You can always self-host this, right? If you want any help with self-hosting, I would be glad to point you to the right sources and you to be able to do it. Right now, I am using Cloudflare Pages front end, Google Cloud Run backend, and MongoDB as database with Google Auth as authentication provider, and inbuilt email authentication with hashing, so I do not know what your password is, of course. So that is the entire idea of this project. Thank you for watching. Please do share this with anyone who might make use of this project. That's all I would like. Thank you for watching, and if I don't see you again, have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night.